Titans, go! Hello again, Titans fans. Welcome back to Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. One of your co-hosts, Charles Skaggs, back in Titans Tower once again, ready to talk some DC Universe Titans with my fellow Titan Talker and one of my greatest friends ever, Jesse Jackson. How you doing, Jesse?
I am great, Charles. You know, I just think I've got to take a minute. Titan Talk is the gift that just keeps on giving.
Yes.
Yes. Not only did it give us hours of reading entertainment back in the day, but it connected you, Lori, and I, and now then it's got us talking Titans on TV.
Yes.
There's no way that young Charles and Jesse and all the other members that were in Titan Talk that, as we've talked about before, the fanzine we used to do, the
right.
Titan
Talk, the APA, yes, the amateur press.
That there's no way we would have thought we would get a live action Titan series, especially one this good.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed talking with you, and today's going to be no exception because here at episode 45, we're going to talk Atonement.
Yes.
An actual episode title, not named after a character. All right.
Yes, I know. I'm a little confused.
So this is the 9th episode of Titan Season 2. We're getting close to the end.
Yep.
With this aired, just released on November 1st, 2019. Written by Jeffrey David Thomas, who co-wrote the Season 1 episode Jason Todd.
Mm-hmm.
And directed by Boris Mojsovsky.
Okay.
So someone new to the show, but thought he did a pretty good job here. And looking forward to getting your thoughts on Atonement this time.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get started into our topics, we have 4 today.
Ooh.
So, but just kind of break things down.
4 of a kind, yes.
Four topics we want to talk about. But I want to get your thoughts on overall about this episode. So what do you think about this one in general?
I was a little disappointed.
I was as well. So go ahead.
I felt this was disjointed. I felt like often, and I'm going to call this the Game of Thrones syndrome. We have so many characters and we have to give a little bit to each one of them.
Right.
And I think that many of them were WTF. Why did that happen? In fact, I've written down notes about these.
Right.
There were stories in this that if they had spent time with it would have been good. But because of the trying to touch everyone, I just felt like this didn't work as an episode.
Yeah. I'm kind of disappointed right along with you with this one. This is probably my least favorite of the season so far.
Yeah.
I know some people liked it, and that's cool. I get it.
Yeah.
But for me, this one just didn't work. I think my main problem with the story is that it's such a downer of an episode. Everyone in this episode is making really bad decisions, and I hate characters when all of them make really bad decisions. And it seems very forced because hey, we had the Titans together for maybe all of 5 seconds. Time to split them up again and send them to the 4 corners of the universe just so we can bring them back again later. And it just drove me nuts. I was very frustrated, and it just seems very unnecessary, this episode.
Yeah, I'm hoping. We'll kind of break it down as you do a great job. Always, you kind of talk about the different theories and different themes of the episode. But I really, really was unhappy with this.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple things that kind of fuel some of the theories we've been talking about, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about that in each segment. But and we do get the introduction of a major new character, Blackfire,
Yes.
at long last. I mean, we've kind of had her referenced, but we finally get to see her, played by Damaris Lewis, who, before we get into that topic, she was in the movie Black Klansman, and she was also on the TV series Pose and the TV series New Girl. She's actually a model, and you can see why. But she's a model that kind of became an actress, or does also acting on the side. And and here she's been cast as the sister Blackfire, the sister of Princess Coriander, aka Starfire.
Yeah.
And and I think in an attempt to set up season 3.
Yeah, I think so.
So we'll see what happens. But if there is a season 3, we'll find out, I guess, altogether. But they seem to be trying to set that up already. All right. We also get the return of Esai Morales' Deathstroke, Mayko Nguyen as Adeline Kane, Robbie Jones in his presumably last appearance as Faddei, and of course Kieran Walters gets a cameo as Jason Todd. Joshua Orpin has some fun scenes as Superboy, and some not so fun scenes. And again, with characters making really bad choices, life choices. And otherwise, that's pretty much the story. And it's essentially, like we talked about, everybody going. The story kind of starts off with Dick talking about basically he coming clean about what happened with Jericho. And the reason he didn't come clean, as we found out, was he was afraid that the Titans would react badly and split up. So, of course, that's exactly what happens. So
yeah, and I'm a little bit.
So let's talk about our first topics, Dick Grayson, and let's talk about Slade as well.
Okay, so my first question, and I'm kind of jumping ahead.
And Adeline as well. Let's throw Adeline in there as well.
I watched the episode. Was the scene when he goes to visit Adeline and Slade is there,
right?
Was that a flashback or was that current?
That's current, I believe.
Because it felt like a flashback. Because with Slade saying, if you ever get the Titans back together, I will kill all of you them. You know, I didn't have the exact quote.
Yeah.
And so
But it's kind of like after he broke them up. And he's the one responsible for the Titans breaking up and manipulating them.
But he'd already done that. The original thing, he had broke them apart. So that's why I'm saying, give with me a little bit. So they break them apart.
Right.
Dick is feeling guilty about Jericho dying. He goes visit Jericho's mom. She's talking to him. Then all of a sudden, there flashback Slade back when he could be really upset about his son just dying.
Right.
And then he says, if you ever get them back together, I'm going to kill everyone. Flash to modern times. They get together. Deathstroke gets out of retirement and starts killing them. It felt like a flashback because he is doing what he said he was doing. So why would he say that again?
Well, here's my theory about that. Okay. I get where you're coming from. I could definitely understand the confusion of seeing this as a flashback.
Yeah.
I get that. That said, I think the reason it was set in the present day is because Dick is trying to come clean at long last about his guilt about Jericho. He went to Jericho's mother to talk to her.
Yeah.
Before, he wasn't doing that. He wasn't coming clean about what happened with Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of see it as more, okay, Dick, now after the Titans left, he said, because he told Garrett, well, there's something I have to do. And then we see him going to Nevada to talk to Slade's wife. So I have to presume that that's the thing he had to do. Like he was feeling guilty. And that kind of sets up the thing, what happens later in the airport with him.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you for understanding why. It just felt like it could have.
Right.
that's what he
Yeah.
remembered happening, because it kind of seems like
Yeah.
they're going to the same ground. But
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, but
very good.
yeah, now I think if this was a flashback, Slade
Mhm.
didn't really tell them, hey, you guys get to back together and I'll kill all of you.
Yeah.
So this is him now saying, well, if you guys get back together again, I'm
Mhm.
going to kill all of you.
Yeah, I broke you up twice.
Right.
And this time I'm really, really serious
Right.
that you shouldn't get back together.
Exactly.
Yeah, it just didn't work for me at all.
Because him saying this is his revenge,
Mhm.
breaking them up, and we'll see what happens. But
yeah,
yeah,
I'm
trying to put it, because of the context of everything around.
I totally get that. I don't know if you watch the drama A Million Little Things.
No, I don't.
It's okay. There is and I won't go into elaborate story, but a character and his wife were estranged, and they are starting to get back together. And he says, the only way this is going to work is if I am totally honest with you. And what I'm going to tell you may mean you won't take me back.
Right.
And he admits that he had an affair, and the person he had the affair with is a mutual friend. The baby she's having is his baby. Okay?
Yeah.
Kind of a soap opera thing. And absolutely his estranged wife is very angry, but then she later accepts the fact that I can't change his actions, but at least he's being honest now. And maybe from this point we can move forward.
Right.
And so I agree with Dick. Okay, I can't change my past. I have to clean the air. And I'm not saying it's not unrealistic for Hank to punch him and everyone to leave, but there should at least be some thought on, I appreciate you coming clean. Down the road, maybe we can do, for now, you've got to give us some space while we process this.
Exactly. And there was none of that. And then it just,
right.
It seemed it made absolutely no sense to have everyone except for Gar
Mm-hmm.
and really kind of Corey. Corey just said it had something to do, she said.
Yeah.
But everybody else just saying, look, I'm out of here. You know, there was no like, hey, we appreciate you coming clean, but we need time to process this. Exactly. There was none of that. There was no like meeting halfway here. It was just like, oh, you lied to us? Okay, again? All right, we're out of here. Bye.
So, hey, Dick.
Yeah.
The reason you lied to us is we're going to show you were right to lie to us.
Exactly.
Everything you afraid was going to happen did happen.
Yes.
So
you were perfect. You were perfectly justified. Like why should I ever tell the truth again? Because you guys just proved me right.
Exactly. And like I said, I'm not saying they should immediately go, oh, now that you're honest and it's free, we can move forward. No, but they should at least say, what I would want is, hey, I am pissed off at you, Dick.
Yeah.
And and this is going to take me some while, but at least I appreciate you finally telling us what's going on.
Right. It's not like Dick killed Jericho.
Exactly.
Jericho was the one who sacrificed himself. And he just said, like, he just basically played with the timeline of the events.
Absolutely.
So he didn't lie about, how Jericho died. So I have no idea why they're so angry with him. It just makes no sense to me. And it's probably why this is my least favorite episode, because I was just like going, really, guys?
Yeah.
Like, and even Gar is, pointing this out later after when he and Dick are alone. He's like, what? Okay, you apologized and you came clean with them. And what more do they want?
Yeah.
And Gar's the only one who's loyal here, wanting to, like, look, okay, he screwed up, but at least he's coming clean with us. There's zero. It's like, it's black or white with everybody else. Like,
yes,
okay, you lied to us. That's it. We're done. There's no, It's a zero tolerance policy apparently with everybody else, and it just was
Absolutely.
so frustrating to me.
Okay.
Even like later on, like Rachel makes this comment, like she tags along with Donna after she leaves. And even Donna's all surprised about that. Like, okay, you're tagging along with me? Really? Okay.
So
And
I
they
have
get,
a point about that when we get to that
well, let's talk,
category.
well,
I don't
let's,
know
well,
if
no,
okay.
I'm not going to, we might as well talk about it now because I
Okay.
don't have a separate category for this one because it was just one scene.
Yeah.
So they get,
Why?
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, so,
You set it up,
all
and
right,
then I'll ask my question.
I'll set it up. You knock it down. All right. So I'll set it up. So Donna and Rachel get into, like, I'm guessing an Uber taxi,
Yes.
and they're riding around. They get stuck in traffic, and Rachel's talking to Donna, and Rachel's actually being a little bit of a voice of reason here. She's going, okay, what Dick did was, was not great, but you guys were like right along there with him through all this.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of trying to point out Donna's hypocrisy in all this. Like, you all had your part to play in all this. So she's kind of hinting, well, why are you so hard on Dick when you were involved with this? And then all of a sudden Rachel decides, well, she's not going to sit in traffic. She has somewhere to be. So she uses her soul self energy, whatever, that dark energy, to hold Donna in place while she exits the car and takes off.
So, Charles, I ask you this question.
Yes.
Donna did not force Rachel to go with her.
Right.
Donna looked surprised that Rachel was going to go with her.
Right.
Donna has not established that you can't leave me.
Right.
Why the heck did Rachel have to use her black
energy
shadow powers to leave the taxi versus just going, hey, I've changed my mind. I think it's a bad idea to go with you.
I have no idea.
I mean,
again, it's just my frustration with this episode, the way it was written.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and my question was,
yes,
why did Rachel say she was going with Donna and then leave her? I mean, it just made no sense.
It's like the only reason she went was to point out that Donna was being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
And that's it. We're like, okay, I made my point. I'm out of here. Bye.
Yeah.
So what was that? What was all that about? And where'd she go? We don't know.
Yeah. And it's just, why did we need that scene?
I have no idea.
That's a perfect example of why I didn't like this episode.
Unless it's to put doubts in Donna's head about it.
Yeah.
But it was just the way it was executed was just made no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just very frustrating scene. So I thought we at least had to mention that.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you did. I would have brought it up if you didn't.
So let's get back to Dick and Slade for a moment.
Yes.
So in the scene that we were talking about, where Dick goes to Adeline, he basically tries to come clean with her. She's like, "I've got nothing for you. All I have is pain for you. I'm not going to forgive you. Oh, by the way." But there is an option, and as Dick's ready to walk out of the house without getting forgiven, if you go down into that room, you might try explaining. They might have more sympathy towards you. They.
Yeah.
Did you catch that? The they in that?
Yes, I did.
So Dick goes into the room. Apparently, the only one I was expecting both Slade and Wintergreen were in the room, but apparently it's only Slade. And so the question is, okay, is someone else in there with Slade? And I have a theory about who that is.
Okay.
So my theory, and this is kind of picking up on the theory that we've been talking about, that Jericho's still alive. And after the events of last episode, I think I've kind of figured out what happened.
Okay.
So my theory, after Jericho was being stabbed by Slade, I think what happened, and feel free to point out holes in this theory, I think that Jericho jumped into Slade's body and has been there ever since. Because if you remember when we were first introduced into Slade in the first episode, when he was in that cabin and he was all alone and his hands were shaking.
Yeah.
and we couldn't figure out why. Like we
Hmm.
just kind of tossed it aside though, because we couldn't
Yeah.
figure out what was going on, and then we just kind of forgot about it. But thinking about back to that scene and seeing Slade in this scene, where there's this kind of struggle apparently going on, where Adeline says, "Look, you better go," because Slade appears to be getting upset. I kind of
Hmm.
wonder if Slade's still in there fighting to get control of his body back from his son.
Do you
And that,
think there's back and forth? Sometimes Jericho is in charge, and sometimes it's Slade.
or I think Jericho's been in control, but Slade is resisting and trying to get control of his body back.
Do you think Jericho would have that much anger about the Titans and would want to hurt them the way that Slade has?
Maybe, but if you notice, he hasn't killed anybody apart from the whole. Maybe it's kind of hard to say because if Slade took over, or they're working in tandem, I'm not sure how this is working out yet.
Because didn't Dr. Light get killed by Slade?
This is true, yeah, and he did try to throw Jason off by
Yeah.
using that detonator.
Hmm.
So either Jericho has gone full tilt supervillain, like his
Hmm.
father,
Yeah.
or they are kind of like sharing control over his
Yeah.
body.
Hmm.
So something's going on there, and I think the reason why, because remember, and um, Slade and Adeline were estranged.
Hmm.
They felt that and Adeline was blaming Dick for the breakup of their family.
Hmm.
So why would Slade be there in that same room, in that
I,
same house with her?
I don't know.
And
It
and and my,
Yeah.
and my reason is that's because it's Jericho inside
Yeah.
Slade's body. So Adeline, I think, is aware of this.
Yeah, and I do think they are in there is a great sign.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
So
why say they if it wasn't like Jericho in Slade's body?
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I
That's my
think
that's
so.
my so do you think that theory has merit?
Yeah, I do. I think it has a lot of merit.
So obviously we still have questions. We don't know, okay, is Jericho now evil? Is Jericho now the threat?
Hmm.
Not Slade or what have you. We don't know yet.
Yeah,
But I do think that Slade's been struggling for control back of his body.
that makes a lot of sense. And it. So I think that is. I think that I'm very happy.
Yeah. So maybe
Okay.
maybe that's why Deathstroke retired, was that because Jericho took over his body and so Slade wasn't out killing people.
Right.
And Jericho decided, well, the only way I can keep my father from going out and killing people is by having him live in this secluded cabin somewhere. And then
Hmm.
something involving the Titans coming back made him realize he needed to come back.
I think you're right.
So we'll see what happens. That's my
Okay.
theory. That's my theory.
Okay, I like it.
All right. So just thought I'd mention that. Anything else about Dick and Slade or Adeline before we move on?
No, can't.
Okay. All right. So topic number 2, let's talk about Gar and Superboy, Connor Kent.
Ooh, okay.
So obviously, a lot of people have been frustrated because Beast Boy has kind of been shortchanged this season. Here's an episode where he finally got some scenes. Unfortunately, the scenes that he got, he's basically bored in half of them.
Yeah. So
So,
I
so what did you think about Gar in this scene, in this episode, and his basically starting a bromance with Connor?
um I liked um I liked this whole sequence. I am one of the people
Yeah,
that did not I kind of felt bad that that Gar was kind of missing.
yeah,
I understand that there's a lot of people there and there's a lot of things to discuss. So I get that perhaps you have to take your turns, but I really liked this one. and I loved the area, the show, the kind of story they told. Very funny. It's very garish. By the third day, not the
Yes.
third week, the
Right.
third day, everything's gone to heck in a handbasket.
He's completely lost interest in his
Yeah.
goal. Yeah.
Yeah. Originally, hey, there we go. I'm all set. Whatever this needs to be.
Yeah.
And,
To kind of set that up. So he basically Dick leaves him in charge and
yes.
tells him, okay, watching over Connor, that's your number one job.
Yes.
So Connor's in a coma. He's not waking up. So Gar essentially is like, okay, well, I'm in charge. So I'm going to come up with a plan to save the Titans. What he calls, Day Alpha of Operation Save the Titans on June 21st. He starts recording off a star log in his cell phone. And he says there's a lot of work to do, no one to do it but me. So he starts this regimen plan, like he's making coffee, he's trying to be fit. He tries to, process some really ugly looking green liquid from vegetables.
Oh yeah, he's doing a vegetable shake.
And he's trying to work out in the training room, and he's trying to, like, he's got motivational Post-its up, and here's
fitter, happier, more productive.
Yeah. So little bit of trivia about these Post-its. Yeah. Okay. So the first Post-it, fitter, happier, more productive.
Yes.
That's from a song called Fitter, Happier by Radiohead.
Okay.
The second Post-it, always look on the bright side of life. If you're a Monty Python fan,
yes.
Monty Python's Life of Brian.
Yes.
So that was great. And then in day 3, he starts putting up all work and no play makes Gar a dull boy over and over again, a la The Shining.
Oh, I was thinking of Bart Simpson on the blackboard, on the chalkboard.
No, that was Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Okay.
That was a definite homage there.
Yeah, he read the first day, Tale of Two Cities.
Yep, by Charles Dickens.
Yeah, second day, Frankenstein.
By Mary Shelley.
Yep. Third, Hickory Dickory Dock, by
Mother Goose. Yes.
Yes.
And you notice he's reading it by the day 3 with the book on his face.
Yes, like he's just like
bored out of his skull.
Yes.
So and now that health regimen goes right down the tubes because by day 3 he's sitting there playing video games, sharing a pizza with Crypto.
Yes, feeding. Yes.
So at least he's looking out for Crypto. So you got to like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just this decreasing amounts of enthusiasm, and then all of a sudden like Gar's at his lowest point when all of a sudden Connor shows up naked.
Yes.
Like why he can't figure out to put on pants by this point, I don't know.
I do think that's a little funny.
Or why didn't somebody think to put on some pants on him? At least put some underwear on him? No.
Well, and so I assume if you're part Kryptonian, you don't have bathroom needs,
Well, if you're unconscious, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I get. I don't see that he had a. Maybe
there's got to be waste, presumably.
A catheter or something. Because they couldn't put IV fluid into him, so maybe he was just sitting there. I liked. I do think it's kind of their way of showing Connor is just a little bit different.
Yes.
He has no concept of being shameful.
Right.
I like the scenes between them, and everything worked for it from me till the end.
Yeah.
And the end just ticked me off.
Me too. And let's get into that. So let's set this up. So Gar, after bonding with Connor over video games, he's really impressed by Connor's reflexes, and essentially he feels comfortable enough to like, okay, I got to get out of this tower. I've been here a whole 3 days or 4 by this point. So he takes Connor for a tour of San Francisco.
Right.
But, and here's where the problem lies. Gar tries to explain the real world to Connor as, hey, it's a 3-dimensional video game. So therefore, Connor just sees things as things I need to shoot with lasers or punch or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And the guard tells him, like, hey, you're supposed to help people in need. But he doesn't teach them the whole point of subtlety about that. The whole
Yes.
that, like, well, hey, if a bad guy, and in this case, a guy who's being taken into custody by the cops, says, hey, help me, you don't attack the cops.
Right.
So he doesn't make that distinction to Connor. So Connor attacks the cops, and it just escalates quickly. Like in Ron Burgundy, wow, that really escalated quickly kind of escalation. And so the next thing you know, Connor's like destroying cop cars with his heat vision and throwing cops like hundreds of feet. And God knows if they're alive. We don't know. But, and Gar essentially is like, ooh, awkward, and just walks away from the whole thing, runs away from the whole thing.
And why?
Instead of trying to stop Connor.
Yeah, that just doesn't make any sense.
And I'm like, what?
No.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
No.
I don't get that at all.
I mean, all he did was just like, Connor, don't do that. And then Connor does whatever he wants, and Gar doesn't even try to stop him.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what?
Yeah. It makes no sense whatsoever. I am furious at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just it
So now Connor's like a fugitive, and
yeah.
And then Gar is like, look, I really screwed up. He calls Dick, tries to call Dick later. And that's one of the things we forgot to talk about with Dick, obviously Dick in the airport, that we should really talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So he calls Dick while we're on the subject. He calls Dick at the airport. Dick's not answering his phone.
Yeah.
And Dick is kind of mulling over about whether he just wants to get away from everybody. So he makes this like unscheduled flight one way to, was it Greenland?
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop you there, Charles.
Yes, go ahead.
Do you not think this would, in today's modern world of after 9/11, do you not think that would raise red flags?
Well, there's no reason why it should, as long as he seems okay and that he's not carrying weapons, right?
But I just...
He's an American citizen. Presumably, he's a cop. So, presumably, a cop would be trusted. The lady asked for his passport and his credit card, so they could run a scan.
Okay, I just thought immediately that just is...
That shouldn't... I wouldn't think that would immediately tip off any bells, especially since he's a cop.
Okay.
So, because ideally, you're like, hey, you got to trust a cop, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, like he drops all of a sudden, like he thinks about it, keeps thinking this over, and then he abruptly shifts gears and drops his little saddlebag or whatever he's carrying, that gym bag. And then he attacks a couple of cops intentionally to be taken into custody.
Okay.
So was he doing that because he feels guilty about what happened and feels he needs to be punished by the prison system? Or was he doing that to kind of throw off Deathstroke and that he'll just surprise him at some point? Was it all part? Was it a deliberate plan?
I have no idea, and it makes no sense.
Because I have to wonder if Dick caught Adeline saying they. And maybe I'm hoping he's figured out what happened. That Jericho's alive in Slave's body. And he wants Jericho to think that, all the Titans are defeated and no threat whatsoever. I'd like to think that. But the way this episode is written, I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, this looks like when you have to get in prison so you can escape, you can help someone escape.
Right.
So you deliberately do something weird or break the law so you will get arrested.
Right.
But there's no reason for him I mean, if he's trying to get back to San Francisco, he could have just bought a flight.
Yes.
He
But
now
but if he
is
like again, if he was trying to throw Deathstroke off or Jericho off the trail,
now is there a chance Jericho took over Dick's body
we
and
don't
did
know.
this?
We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't know.
it made no sense to me.
Yeah, but I'd like to think that Dick was smart enough to pick up on the they
Hmm.
that Adeline said, and that he's piecing this together. That because Deathstroke had talked about how this was all a deliberate plan to
Yeah,
break up the Titans.
yeah,
So I have to think he's kind of like, okay, look, Deathstroke intentionally doesn't want I mean, because he flat out says, I want you to suffer. I want you to be alone for the rest of your life, and knowing that your friends are out there and you can't be
yeah.
with them.
Hmm.
So I have to think that Dick is formulating a plan about how to bring everybody back together. I hope.
Okay,
I hope.
I don't feel good about it
I
at
don't feel
all.
good. I think it was a dumb plan, but we'll
Yeah,
see. Like
yeah.
I'm thinking that's your plan, just to get yourself hit a couple of cops so you get yourself intentionally arrested.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, we'll see how it goes,
Hmm.
but not very encouraging to say the
Yeah.
least. All right, and while on the subject of bad decisions, let's move on to topic number 3: Hank and Dawn.
Okay.
So Hank and Dawn have returned back to Wyoming to their what's left of their cabin after it was blowed up real good
Hmm.
by Dr. Light and taking over Ellis, or putting that little device in Ellis, and turning him essentially into a suicide bomb. So they're struggling to get the cabin back up together. Um, Dawn is insisting, hey, we just need a win. Let's go into town, and I know exactly where we need to go. So they go to a country bar to sing karaoke.
Yes.
And at first, it looks really nice and sweet. You've got Hank and Dawn. They're introduced as Frank and Sean, and they start singing Ain't No Mountain by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell.
Yes.
Great song. The crowd loves the performance. And they're just being all lovey-dovey toward one another. They end up making out in the parking lot afterward. It all seems good until record scratch. Ellis's sister shows up,
Yeah.
and everything goes to hell. So, what did you make of this sequence with Hank and Dawn?
I liked everything up till the lady showing up.
Right.
I understand her being angry at them,
Mm-hmm.
but why would she threaten them? What's she going to do to them? You know, you're going to be
Yeah,
like, is she a supervillain that we don't know about? No. It just seemed
I think she's been paid
dumb.
by Jericho or Deathstroke
Okay.
as part of his plan to break them up and keep them broken up. That maybe he found her because remember he's been studying them.
A
So
little bit a stretch, but
yeah,
I'll buy it.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
that she's been
Okay.
like he found her and is like, okay, look, I want you to antagonize them,
Yeah.
and I'm sure she was perfectly willing to do that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, she threatens like, hey, I'm going to make your life a living hell one day at a time,
Yeah.
and Hank is really upset by this
Yes.
to the point where he stays up the whole night. He doesn't sleep. Dawn finds him the next morning in the truck outside, just sitting there.
Hmm.
And he tells her, well, look, I've been doing some thinking about what Ellis's sister said. And like, I never wanted to come back to Wyoming anywhere but here. And Dawn was apparently wanting, well, I just thought we could just pick up where we left off because it was
Hmm.
working really well. And Hank is obviously he's been having some doubts about the relationship. He points out how they met in grief counseling. They're defined by loss. Dawn doesn't believe that, but Hank thinks that when they're together, they just beat criminals up, and all they're doing is just keeping the cycle of pain alive.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
his whole rationale was like, well, okay, I think maybe we should break up and see how we do apart. So
which is
all that
dumb.
all that lovey-dovey stuff that just happened like the previous day,
Yeah,
where they're singing to each other and all
yeah,
affectionate, and all of a sudden Hank's ready to just throw that away
yeah.
because
Just so
because
dumb.
because someone got up in his grill
Yeah,
and he felt guilty.
yeah,
So again, more dumb decisions. So um, he's like she gives him this ultimatum, like look, if you want to go, go. So he starts the truck up. She goes back in the cabin. Apparently, they're broken up at this point,
yeah,
for all we know. And Hank shows up at a bar somewhere else. We think, oh, he started up in a bar, but he asked for a Diet Coke. So we think, okay, he's maybe okay. And then he starts hitting around like, okay, where's like the drug action act?
yeah.
So he's looking for drugs. More bad decisions.
And just it
Like, why?
Hank is I don't like to see Hank that
Right. Tormented.
weak. Yes, that weak. I think
You
I
think he's
don't
stronger than that? I mean, yeah,
I do think
if
he
he's an
is.
addict and you always have to fight against that, I get that.
Absolutely.
But you
Mhm.
think he would be, after being a counselor, would be understand. So maybe,
Yeah, absolutely.
hopefully he'll get to that, like that almost getting back on drugs, but stops himself. Hopefully in
Yeah,
time.
you hope so.
Or
Yes.
or Dawn finds him and stops him. Who knows? But
Yeah.
we'll find out. So we'll see what happens. But again, more bad decisions.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Anything else about Hank and Dawn before we move on?
Nope.
All right. So last topic I want to talk about. Let's talk about Corey, Faddei,
Mhm.
and Blackfire,
All right.
whom we meet in hologram form for the first time.
Mhm.
So, what was your take on these characters in this story?
I like the fact that they're doing their road trip. They're going to figure out what's going on. You saw that something hits him,
Right.
you
So,
know,
some kind of
and
little blob dart thing,
yes.
and it crawls up into his ear. So we're like, okay, he's mind controlled.
Yeah. And he doesn't eat.
Mm-hmm.
That shows, something's going on.
Yeah. Even like
Uh,
he didn't eat the corn nuts that
yeah,
that he sent Corey in to get
right.
at the gas station.
And then he doesn't eat the meal.
Right.
So yeah, you're like, okay,
What's up?
something's going on.
Right.
And then I love the fact that Corey knew something was going on.
Right.
And
She
then
she
they
picked
even
up
think,
she picked up because basically, yeah, he said that I'm sorry for interrupting. That she made this comment about, hey, remember the time we were at my cousin's wedding? And he says, yeah, you made that joke about your sister's hair or something. And that tips her off that, hey, Faddei wasn't at my cousin's wedding.
yeah,
So he never heard me make that joke.
right.
So she knew that tipped her off that something was up.
Hmm.
And so that when they eventually go to Faddei's ship, Corey confronts him about this and realizes that, hey, he's been taken over, and she realizes that it's her sister,
Hmm.
and she kind of realizes that whatever's still left of Faddei, I hope you can hear me or whatever, and Faddei tells her to kill him.
Yeah.
So she does. She cremates him. So goodbye, Faddei. Nice knowing you for all of, 3 episodes? And so he's dead. And in his place is a hologram of Blackfire. So what
Yeah.
did you make of the first time we got to see Blackfire?
I really liked that part of it. I was glad to see her.
Right.
The idea that he was courageous enough to know that, hey, do what you got to do, Corey.
Right.
She is his queen.
Right.
And so he's ready to do whatever I need to do.
Because Blackfire admitted that she killed their parents.
Yes.
And
well, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet, right?
Yeah, I've got at least that's what Jack Nicholson's Joker said.
Yes.
And then she says, "Oh, I've got a new family now."
Mm-hmm.
And Corey threatens, "Well, hey, I'm coming for you."
Yeah.
And she says, good, go ahead and try. And then she blows up Faddei's ship.
Yeah.
So good luck getting to Tamaran because your ship's blown up and so's Faddei's.
Yes. Yeah. So I did wonder that. What does that mean for
how
the
is she
third
going to
season?
Yeah, how is she going to get to Tamaran?
Yeah. I don't know.
I have a theory, but we'll see.
Oh, you want to share it now or you want to hold it?
It's more of a hope than a theory. I guess. My hope is that maybe she'll hitch a ride with the Omega Men.
Oh, okay.
If you remember the Omega Men from the original Blackfire saga from New Teen Titans 23 through 25 and annual number 1, they kind of helped out. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll see the Omega Men in season 3. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
So maybe they could hitch a ride to Tamaran with them. So we'll see.
Okay, very cool.
But anything else about Blackfire and Corey?
Can't think of anything. Nope.
Just obviously seems like season 3 setup, but why are we spending so much time on season 3 setup when we got all this other stuff to sort out? Why not just save that for the final episode of the season?
Yes, I mean,
you had to deal with the Faddei stuff and get him out of there, but I don't know. I mean, it didn't take a whole lot of time, but
no, but it
just seemed kind of unnecessary, and I guess it got Corey out of the picture as well, but.
But all right, so we've only got 4 episodes after this one.
4 episodes after this one.
Yeah,
yes. You got 4 episodes to wrap all this up,
and I would make the argument if you're trying to set up season 3, this is too early to set it up.
Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But
so they've kind of the past 2 episodes. I feel like they were trending downward. They were trending upward. This was a really strong season,
right?
But I feel like the past 2 have been
downwards.
Just not what I want. Yes.
Yeah, we were on kind of an upward curve for the first half of the season. Now, so far in the back half, we're kind of hitting a downward slide. After the Superboy and Eve stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
So these past couple, we've kind of starting into downward. Hopefully they can pull out of this, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
So anything else about this episode before we move on?
Nope.
All right. So here's the segment that Jesse's been waiting for. Favorite quotes of the episode. I'm guessing you have a particular one that you want to share with the class.
Maybe. Donna is really mad at Dick.
Yeah.
And she says, "How many other effing half-truths have you told us?" And Rachel says, "At least you got half-truths." Right. I really thought that was a nice zinger. And so I love that quote.
Okay. Any others that you want to address?
Oh, if you force me.
Okay.
No, this was so wonderful, and I took a screen capture and I tweeted it. It was just perfect that, when Dick is giving Gar his pep talk, like, okay, you're the one.
Instructions and stuff.
Yeah, instructions. There's a manual. If you get confused, it basically runs by itself. And, take care of the guy sleeping, the naked guy sleeping. That's your job number 1. And if he wakes up, call Bruce. And Gar goes, "Bruce Wayne?" And Dick says, "No, Bruce Springsteen." And I just loved it.
As soon as I heard that line, I'm like, Jesse's got to be all over this one. Has to be.
Yes. So
it's kind of like when Doom Patrol had that Bruce Springsteen fan.
Yes. It is. There's something about
DC Universe.
They have a Springsteen fan somewhere involved.
Apparently.
So my question is, does Dick have Bruce's Springsteen's phone number? Could he reach out to him?
Maybe. Well, Bruce probably does.
Yes, he does.
Bruce Wayne probably does.
So yes, that was very funny. How about you? You got a couple?
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't see any Bruce Springsteen albums in Dick's collection, but who knows? Maybe maybe at the very least he's got Born in the USA in there somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, because that's the album just about everybody has.
Yes.
Um,
I would think he'd have Darkness.
Even I had
Darkness on the Edge of Town.
Even I had Born in the USA on cassette, so
yeah,
I had that. So some of my quotes. I liked. Connor says, "What is this place?" Talking about Titan's Tower, and Gar goes, "Titan's Tower," and then he pauses for a moment and he goes, "Yeah, that might sound a little weird with no context." So I like that one. Do you have any others? Any other quotes you want to talk about?
No.
All right. Slade, or perhaps Jericho, confronting Dick Grayson, where Slade says, "This isn't about me. You still haven't accepted your guilt, and so you must pay. I sentence you to live alone, Dick Grayson, forever knowing that your Titans family lives and breathes somewhere out there in the world, but you can never be with them. Not until you've paid for your crime."
So what kind of payment is he supposed to make?
Right?
That makes no sense.
To be
Anyway, go
alone,
ahead.
apparently. Like,
yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, again, it's like, well, you cost me my family.
Yeah.
If it is Jericho.
Yes.
So I'm going to cost you yours.
Mm-hmm.
So,
good.
And then lastly, Faddei and Corey, where Corey's kind of trying to feel out Faddei, who she's suspecting is being taken over. And Faddei goes, "The point is, you helped each other through rough situations before. Maybe there's some way you two can do it again." And Corey's like, "Co-queens, make peace with my sister or go back and start a revolution. It's a tough call."
Yeah.
And Faddei goes, "Well, I'm a lover, not a fighter." And Corey goes, "Well, I'm a fighter."
Yeah.
So, again, I think by this point she's suspecting that her sister has possessed him somehow, controlling him. So, all right. So, what's your rating for this one? Should be as interesting as mine, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to give this 7 out of 10. Tale of Two Cities books.
Okay. Believe it or not, we are in sync.
Wow. Okay.
I also give this one 7 out of 10. I give it 7 out of 10 motivational Post-it notes.
I like that. Yes.
I did like the Gar scenes.
I did too.
They were a lot of fun, and it was great to see Gar finally getting some screen time again. So I was more than happy about that, and there was a lot of fun, and you had that great Elvis Costello's "Pump It Up" song playing, so that was great.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. All right, I don't have any Titans Tower news, but we do have a couple of Tell It to Titan Talk feedbacks this week.
Oh, good.
So, all right, first person to write in was the Jock, who just one of our Titan Talkers. They wrote in last time, so he's writing back again. So, hi, Jock. And he goes, "What up? What up, guys? Hope all is well. What an episode we got this week. It helped answer some questions, and then it opened up many more. What's up with Rachel? What the hell, Hank? Where did Rose and Jason go? Exactly. Where did they go? They just left, and they're not in they left early on in the episode, and we didn't see what happened to them."
Exactly.
The Starfire story is a bit distracting, in my opinion. We talked about that. If the
Yes.
writers are using it as a launch pad for season 3, that's great, but it's not doing season 2 any service. So, on to my theories. I can pretty much say with confidence that Jericho has taken over Deathstroke. Well, we've talked about that as well. That was my theory as well. I use closed caption when I watch TV due to hearing issues. And when Dick attempted to come clean and be honest with Jericho's mother, she said this. I tried screenshot on my phone, but apparently it's blocked, but it did show closed captions. So he sent the captions, "If it's forgiveness you want, you should try in there. They might feel differently." So that was according to the captions.
Yes.
So we talked about that they may be Jericho inside Slade's body. And so Jock says there was Slade Wilson groaning in pain and what seemed to be clutching his torso where Jericho was stabbed. I feel Grayson has had a revelation of sorts. Maybe he realized Deathstroke is really Jericho. I can't even tell you what Dick was doing at the end there. Why attack the officers? Curious about what his plans are. One last thing. Why is there no episode title for the next week? Well, we actually got an episode title, so I'll mention that. Could the real title be a spoiler? Nightwing, perhaps? Nope, not Nightwing. Have a great week, guys. Jock.
Okay, good.
So, Jock, thank you so much for writing in. Always great to hear from you. And once again, we have Stephen Marshall writing in. So, Stephen's pretty much been like clockwork lately. So,
thank you.
Great,
Yes.
Great to hear from both you and Jock, Stephen. Stephen goes, hey guys, Atonement was a damn good episode. I'm not sure it was and hot, but he says damn good episode. It had everything. Was a true all-rounder, so he really liked it. Bringing joy, humor, action, tension, and sadness. On the Titans walking away, I thought it was kind of irresponsible of the Titans to just bail when they had Connor still recovering, right?
Yes.
Right? You'd have thought at least Corey would have stuck around. Well, Corey said she had stuff to do, so she thought she'd be back, I guess. Finally, Gar got some focus. It was about time for sure. I agree with that. I thought the montage of him, how positive he started off to how negative he ended up being, was quite humorous. I really loved how the friendship evolved between him and Connor throughout the episode. That was good. My favorite my favorite part was the punching bag scene. Hilarious. That was good.
Yes, it was.
Especially when Gar says, "Oh, we'll just tell Dick that I did it," meaning I was manly enough to punch through the bag.
Yes.
I really hope that they have Connor and Gar as close friends in the group. Yeah, so do I. I thought they did really well. Seeing Connor take on the police force was incredible. I need a scene like that, but where he takes on a load of bad guys. Yeah, right? How about...
Absolutely.
There's a wacky thought. Instead of police, how about we have him fight bad guys?
Yes.
Crazy, right? I was wondering when they were going to have Alan Ritchson sing. That's the guy that plays Hawk.
Is he a singer?
Apparently, he says he's got an amazing voice. I didn't realize Minka Kelly did too, mind. So, but I'm kind of wondering if Minka Kelly's was lip synced more.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that was her singing. Maybe if it was, I stand corrected. Please tell me.
Okay.
But I don't know. It didn't quite sound like her voice singing. So,
okay.
Stephen adds, when Dick went to see Slade's wife, and she said in regards to him looking for forgiveness, try in there. Was I the only one screaming at the TV, "Don't go in there"?
Yeah.
It's a good point. Good point. Anyway, I won't go into the other Titans Total stories in depth as I don't want to take too much of your time. But I do want to say I want my own crypto. Well, we all want our own crypto because crypto's awesome.
Yes.
And he goes, well, I'm sure we all do, don't we? Yes, we do. So kind regards, Stephen. So thank you, sir, very much for writing in, Stephen. And also thank you, Jock, for writing in. Great.
Absolutely.
Great to hear from both of you guys. And if you want to be like Jock and Stephen, and hey, who doesn't? Why don't you write to us? Tell Titan Talk at TitanTalkCast@gmail.com. That's TitanTalkCast@gmail.com. Love to hear from you, just like these two guys. Also on Twitter, you can reach us at Titan Talkcast on Twitter or on Facebook, Titan Talk, the Titans Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. And why don't you go to iTunes and please rate and review us or Apple Podcasts. And if you're enjoying the show, if you'll enjoy what we do, I hope you do. And please let people know about us. Share us to your friends. We definitely appreciate that because we're always obviously trying to grow our audience, and we could always use your help doing that. So thank you for that. Jesse, where can they reach you on the interwebs?
Well, you can hear me talk about Doctor Who with a certain co-host that is very charming and very smart.
Is he bigger than me?
No, he isn't. It is a Charles and I talk about Doctor Who about once a month. The other 3 weeks of the month, he has guest companions, and we cover everything past and present in the Who universe. I can be. We just recently dusted off Fandom Zone, and Charles and I are talking about the new HBO series Watchmen. Yes. If you are watching that, I think you'll really enjoy our discussions and insight. At least we hope we do. So we hope you check that out at the Fandom Zone podcast. And we are we're on Titans, so I can't promote Titans.
Yes, but Next Stop Everywhere you can promote.
Yes, yeah, and yeah, we did Next Stop Everywhere.
Yep.
And then, of course, you can hear me. This is November as we record this. We are in the middle of National Podcast Posting Month. It is a challenge where they ask podcasters to post a new episode every month, and Set Lusting Bruce has signed up for that. They are my month is a month of gratitude. So I am doing different episodes every day about things I'm grateful for. It'll be very quick, 3 to 5 minutes. And there is a good chance that a certain co-host of mine will make that list, since I am very grateful that Charles and I get to talk on a routine basis. Charles, how about you? Where can we hear more of your fine work?
Well, as for me, you can reach me at Charles Skaggs on Twitter, at Charles Skaggs on Instagram. I would love it if you followed me there. Or on Facebook, of course, Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio. And my blog of geeky things. Come on, you.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot, where I talk about all the stuff we talk about here on Titan Talk, including Titans news, Doom Patrol news, DC Universe news, comic book sci-fi goodness, news of my other podcasts that I do for Southgate Media, including the aforementioned Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, and the Fandom Zone podcast that I do with Jesse, where we're talking Watchmen right now, and also Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast that I do with Zan Sprouse, wife of comic artist Chris Sprouse, where we talk about all things Twin Peaks, David Lynch, etc., etc. So that's a lot of stuff to cover, and I hope if you enjoy us here, please check Jesse and I out on our other podcasts. We would both definitely appreciate it. And also, for those who don't know, I've been asked to return to our friend DJ Nick's podcast, Happiness and Darkness, where tonight I'm going to be talking The Dark Knight, as in the movie with the Christopher Nolan movie with Christian Bale and the late Heath Ledger, where we're going to be talking The Dark Knight, one of probably my second favorite all-time comic book movie after Superman the movie, which I've already talked about on Happiness and Darkness with Nick. So I'll be posting links about that on my Facebook page when that's released. But so if you want to check those out, hear me talk about The Dark Knight, please stay tuned to my Facebook page, and I will post some links about that, how to check that out. Otherwise, you can track down Nick on the Whiskey and Cigarettes podcast, and you can get information about Happiness and Darkness, how to do that.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So I know that's a lot. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to Titan Talk. We really appreciate it. And if we're split on these episodes, hopefully next time we can all be on the same page and all love next week's episode, which is apparently called Fallen. So we'll see what happens. Apparently, hopefully it sounds like another downer of an episode just on that episode title. But hopefully we start getting the Titans back together because, hey, the season finale is only like a few episodes after that. So kind of start to need to rebound a little bit here. So hopefully we will.
Yes, they do. They need to do that. I agree.
Yeah. If nothing else, the show needs to rebound and kind of start climbing back up once again. But
absolutely.
But everybody, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time right here to talk Fallen on Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.